So I want to continue this Deshaun Watson discussion right here because I do believe this is a very fun and intriguing topic to cover. So look, obviously a lot of teams are going out there trying to get Deshaun Watson and whatnot. I've said in the past that the 49ers and the Dolphins are the two best destinations for one Deshaun Watson. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Deshaun Watson will end up with the Miami Dolphins or the San Francisco 49ers. And honestly, if I'm being real, if you're the Miami Dolphins and the 49ers, you absolutely want to get Deshaun Watson. But if you miss out on Deshaun Watson, I look at Miami and I say, Tua shows some decent things as a rookie. They've got a really good defense. Let's see where this goes. You look at the 49ers. If they return their defense to full form next year, they had a lot of injuries this past year. But if that defense is healthy next year, and even if they get serviceable quarterback play from Jimmy Garoppolo, they'll be right back in the thick of things in the NFC, in my opinion. They'll be really good. But what are the teams out there that desperately need to make a move? Because while the Dolphins and the 49ers should make a move for a guy like Deshaun Watson, they're not desperate to make a move like that. But the following 5 teams, in my opinion, are 5 teams that 1,000% need to do everything in their power to try to acquire Deshaun Watson. I'm talking the price should not be too high for Deshaun Watson. You give up what you need to give up. Give up multiple first-round picks, high-end players. Do what you need to do to get this guy. I got 5 teams for you. Now, I want to put this team on the list, but I don't think that a possible trade for Deshaun Watson is possible. That team is the Indianapolis Colts. I love to see Deshaun Watson with the Colts. If he goes to the Indianapolis Colts, they very well could be the second best team in the AFC behind Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's how good the Colts would be if they had a dynamic quarterback like Deshaun Watson. Unfortunately, the Colts are in the Texans division, so I don't think this move would happen, but it'd be a slam dunk move for the Colts. It'd be super duper fun for me personally to see Deshaun Watson destroy the Houston Texans 2 times a year, for them just really being an organization that's piss poor, that really did not support him, that did so many bad things, that just are a mess. It would be so fun to see Deshaun Watson make them pay for their mistakes. But the number 1 team that needs to make a move for Deshaun Watson, actually, I'll give you my list right now. Number 5, I have Carolina. Number 4, I have the New York Jets. Number 3, the Denver Broncos. Number 2, the Chicago Bears. Number 1, the Washington football team. So let's put that list on the screen. You can examine it. Now let's talk about it. The Washington football team is the number 1 team that should be targeting Deshaun Watson at the moment. They've been looking for a legitimate franchise quarterback for the past 2 decades. They've been through RG3, Dwayne Haskins, Kirk Cousins, I butchered the guy's name. His name is Josh Johnson. A bunch of random quarterbacks that many people probably haven't even heard of. Kirk Cousins is respected. Dwayne Haskins, former first-round pick. We'll see what he does in Pittsburgh. I do believe he can do some good things there. But bottom line, they haven't had a franchise quarterback in years. Could Washington use another wide receiver? Yes. Could they use another offensive lineman? Yes. But this is a well-rounded football team that won in spite of their quarterback this past year. They won the division without great quarterback play. If they can go out there and get a legitimate franchise quarterback, they could enter the Super Bowl conversation because that defense is loaded with talent, led by Chase Young, who's really, really good, okay? And Washington has the number 19 overall pick. You're not probably going to get a legitimate franchise quarterback with the number 19 overall pick. So Washington, make that move. Get the proven commodity. Washington has been drafting young quarterbacks for so long. Get the proven commodity. You don't need to go trying to trade up for a quarterback in the draft. Go get a guy in Deshaun Watson who's in his prime that will give you great production right out the gate. Number 2 is the Bears for me. They're very similar to Washington because they have a really good defense. They have a solid roster, but they're not in position in the draft to get a guy like Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence or Trey Lance, etc., simply because they have the number 20 overall pick, the 20th pick in the first round. You're probably not going to get a legitimate franchise quarterback if you sit there. You have to trade up. This team has talent. This team just needs a consistent, good starting quarterback. And I personally don't think Matt Nagy is a terrible head coach. I think Matt Nagy is actually a decent play caller and a decent head coach that's been held back by his quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. Get Trubisky out of there. You should have drafted Deshaun Watson with the number 2 overall pick when you traded up for that number 2 pick a couple of years ago. You never should have drafted Trubisky. Right the wrong by acquiring Deshaun Watson. Denver Broncos up next at number 3 for me. I actually had high hopes for Drew Lock this past year. I didn't think Drew Lock was going to be this, transcendent quarterback, but I felt that Drew Lock could be a good starting quarterback. Hasn't worked out that way for Drew Lock. He showed some good things in Missouri, but it seems to me he plays way too loose, not all that accurate, and I don't think he has that it factor, man. I really don't. At least he hasn't proven to have that it factor up to this point. And Denver's in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, 2 top 10 quarterbacks. You can't roll out Drew Lock and expect to win that division year in and year out. If you roll with Drew Lock for another year, you're really taking a risk. You're really banking on Drew Lock taking a huge leap. I'm not sure if he can make that leap. I give up the number 9 overall pick and some draft capital to, try to get Deshaun Watson. You got some good players on that team. Give some of them up. Make a move, Denver, if you can. The New York Jets are at number 4 for me. Now, some of you may ask why the Jets are so low. I'll tell you why. First of all, the Jets, in my opinion, are actually in a pretty good situation to get themselves a franchise quarterback already, simply because they have the number 2 overall pick. And with that number 2 overall pick, you can draft a guy like Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields. You have options at the number 2 overall pick. And if those guys hit, meaning if you hit on your number 2 overall pick, assuming you maybe move on from Sam Darnold, then guess what? You have all the money in free agency to spend on that quarterback due to the fact that they're going to be on a rookie contract. We've seen Russell Wilson win a Super Bowl on a rookie contract. We saw Patrick Mahomes win a Super Bowl on a rookie contract. We saw Carson Wentz help lead his team to a Super Bowl, or at least contribute to it on a rookie contract. We saw Jared Goff get to a Super Bowl on a rookie contract. So I don't think the Jets are as desperate to make a move for a quarterback in free agency or via trade as some people want to say, but they're number 4 for me. The Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater, PJ Walker, I like them, but I don't love them. So Deshaun Watson, he'd instantly be their franchise quarterback. And with Drew Brees and Tom Brady hopefully retiring over the next couple of years, you realistically could see Carolina overtaking every single team in that division. That division is wide open once Drew Brees and Tom Brady retire. Deshaun Watson, he'd be a great fit for Matt Rule in Carolina. They need a franchise quarterback. They have the number 8 overall pick. Go and give the Texans that draft pick. Give them multiple first-round picks if needed, and go get Deshaun Watson. So that is my list for 5 teams that absolutely need to trade for Deshaun Watson. Number 1, the Washington football team. Number 2, the Chicago Bears. Number 3, the Denver Broncos. Number 4, the New York Jets. Number 5, the Carolina Panthers. And my sleeper team, to a certain degree, that I talked about earlier, the Indianapolis Colts. If they can somehow make that happen, make it happen. Unfortunately, I don't think it will happen just because they're in the same division as the Texans, but I love to see it happen if it can. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.